this episode of Twang Nation, we chat with featured artist Troy Cassar-Daley. We go behind the scenes on the set of McAlister Kemp's music video and an exclusive acoustic performance from Luke Dickens.
I've been singing since as long as I could remember. I was brought up in a religious family, and people who go to church sing at church. And I loved music, and I was about 9 when I joined the church choir, and just always found every reason to sing ever since. My upbringing was very unusual. I was only ever able to listen to cassettes of religious music, and I never heard the radio or anything until I was well into my teens. And I found out much later that the religious music I was listening to was actually people who'd written their own lyrics to popular songs from the day. So it was, Elvis tunes and Hank Williams tunes, but I didn't know that. It was just people singing on a cassette. And so I think I don't have any real influences. I just write. And it's funny when people bring up references for my music. Nowadays I'm known as a songwriter, but I guess I started off being a kid that wanted to be a singer. I was probably, in my teens when I started to write songs, and I never thought of myself as being a songwriter or wanting to be a songwriter, and just wrote songs for a lot of years. And then I just decided at some stage I should probably find out if I was any good. And so I started putting my songs out there in some competitions and playing them live, and finding out people's responses were mostly good, which was quite encouraging. So then I pursued it a lot more. And I joke and say I am my own muse, because I write about songs that I know or I identify with, or feelings I've experienced. And so they don't end up necessarily all being about me, but they're things that, write what you know.
Not much left of it, the clock, it keeps on ticking, but hey, who's counting when you're caught in the middle of precious little time?
I've just finished recording my new album, which is called Handfuls of Sky, and it's an interesting album for me because I moved from the Territory and I'm living a very different life now, and I had a bunch of songs from the last album and I've written songs since, and I kind of consider it a transition album. And so I went to Sydney to record again, and did it with Herm Kovac, who did my last album as well. Yeah, they're all my songs, so it's coming soon.
I think my earliest musical memories would have been, especially with my mum and dad being separated. At either end, Dad was in Sydney, Mum was up at Grafton. Mum had a big record collection that she'd just sort of, every fortnight from the trains, she'd go and buy a record. Dad played guitar and would sit there and, calm me down when I came down here and visit him, and I'd be bawling because I missed Grafton. A few of those moments there sitting as a kid, very, very early days in Surrey Hills, really did sort of just make me fall in love with that sound of a guitar. And my dad's taste was pretty broad, he'd have everything from like Hank Williams right through to John Denver, and then he'd go right into some real sort of mainstream stuff, so he was really good like that. Mum, on the other hand, was really trad country, so we'd get like Patsy Cline, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, lots of Merle Haggard, because of the fact that she just had this extensive library of vinyls. You could just go out and pull one off. Whatever mood you were in, there was a vinyl for it. You'd sit there and you think to yourself, well, these things almost became surrogate parents, because they'd soothe you when you're down, they'd cheer you up, and they'd make you feel happy even when you had a good mood on or whatever. You just put something happy on and just listen to this music that was so uplifting at times. And I really enjoyed every vinyl that I touched down there, which is still there today. it gave me a heap of grounding, I suppose, when I started playing guitar. The first real album for me, I think, that really did make me sit down and want to learn chords was a Merle Haggard record, and it was something that I hadn't really had the effect of before. You know, I just listened to the songs and I could relate to the tunes. I related to him as a singer and a songwriter too, because I took great pride in reading all the credits, you know, who played on things, and I was thrilled that he had his own band and that he wrote these things himself. So they're obviously his thoughts and what he had to say. And that was one of the main turning points, I think, for me as a kid to go, well, now I should try and get the guitar and try and learn some of these chords, you know. And I hadn't even really had much formal training even to get going on chords on the guitar. But you just sit there, and I knew 3 or 4 chords, and just try to work them out as you went. I really used Merle more as a singing teacher as well, because I thought, well, I loved his phrasing. He was like a country sort of Sinatra guy. He knew where to sing, you know, and got me in straight away.
Hi, I'm Ben Gunn.
Hi, I'm Christy Lamb.
It's Adam Harvey here, just letting you know that you're watching
Twang Nation.
Twang Nation.
Twang Nation.